Hello everyone, I'm Chess Tactics and in this video I'll be explaining chess notation to you. In this video I'll cover files and ranks, how each square is unique and what special symbols each pieces and actions use to record the game. So let's get started. First of all, we have to understand what a file and rank is. So I'll start with one square. A1. As you can see, this square has a letter and a number attached to it. It's A and 1 because it's on the A file and on the first rank. Just as that, um, there is this square. It is D5 because it's on the D file and fifth rank. But first of all, what are files and ranks? If we draw a vertical line along this chessboard, then this is known as a file. As you can see, all of these squares have C in them. They have C in common, such as C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, and C8. So that is known as a file, a vertical line along the board. And what if we draw a horizontal line along the board? Well, that is known as a rank. As you can see, all of these squares now have a 5 in them. 5 is common in them. So, for example, H5, G5, F5, E5, D5, C5, B5, A5. So, all of these have a 5 common in them. So, this is known as a rank. Now, a diagonal line along the board is known as a diagonal. It always starts with, like, it doesn't have either a letter or a number in common. That is what makes it unique. As you can see, this square A1, this square is B2, which don't share a letter or a number. C3, D4, E5, F6, they don't share a letter or a number. So now that we know each square is unique due to its letter and number combination, it is obvious that we will use this to record which square the pieces go to. So, what about the pieces? It would seem wise to just leave it at that. Each square already has something to differentiate it from the others, and we can just write the name of the pieces and get along with the game, right? Well, that is a problem. For example, if we had to write the whole name of the pieces during a game, it will go sort of like this: pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, and bishop to c5. Now that is already very long to write, and plus this is only the third move of the game. Some games are so long that they last more than 100 moves. One game between Gary Kasparov and Vishy Anand also lasted for 200 moves. So imagine writing all of those down. So that is why each piece also has a specific symbol, or should I say letter, to distinguish it from the others. I'm going to be showing a table on the screen right now, and I'll give you 5 seconds to look at it. Okay, 5 seconds over. So, as you can see, each piece also has a specific letter that differentiates it from the others. For example, a pawn doesn't have any letter, a knight has an N, a rook has an R, a king has a K, a queen has a Q, and a bishop has a B. Now, the first question I would like to answer is, why does a knight have the N instead of K? Because knight starts with K, right? Well, the king also starts with K. And if we write K for both of them, it is very confusing for the one who is reviewing the game without a board and just reading the notation. So the knight symbol is K instead of, sorry, the knight symbol is N instead of K, while the king symbol is K. Okay, so now it's obvious. We just pair the specific letter of the piece with the square that it is going to. For example, if I want to move my knight to g5, we'll just write a capital N and a small g and a 5. But what about if I want to capture this pawn on e5? Well, we can't just write knight to e5. There has to be a specific symbol for capturing a piece also. And you are right. It it is an X. If I play knight captures pawn on e5, we can show that there was a black piece there by notating it as capital N, then a small x or multiplication mark, whatever, and e5 in small letters. So now we are showing that a black piece was there and the knight captured it. And there are also specific symbols for check and checkmate. Let's see them now. For example, if I want to play rook to h8 check here, it is capital R, small h, 8, and a plus symbol to symbolize that the black king is in check. And what about checkmate? Let's see, after the black king moves, we cut off the king using my rook roller technique. And the rooks move like this. And it's check again, capital R, G7, and plus symbol. And after the king moves to the edge of the board, then there is rook to H8 checkmate. As you can see, the notation is capital R, small h, 8, and a hash symbol. Hash symbol represents a checkmate and the game is over. But let's get back to the original position here. What if we want to move this rook to d4? Well, we can't just write rook to d4 because there are two rooks that can actually go to d4. But we want this rook on d2 to go to d4. So what do we do? Well, we write the letter D after the symbol of the rook. For example, rook D to D4. Now, this prevents the person who is seeing the notation from getting confused which rook goes to D4, because this rook was on the D file and this rook is on the H file. Now, letters are prioritized before numbers in chess. So, we don't write rook 2 to d4 instead of rook 4 to d4. But in other examples, it is actually necessary to write numbers instead of letters. Let's see in this example. Now, let's say this queen on e5 wants you to go to this square g3. Well, we can't just write queen to g3 because two queens can go to g3. But we also can't write queen e to g3 as both queens are on the e file. So, what do? This time we write numbers. The notation is queen 5 to g3. This queen was on the 5th rank while this queen is on the 3rd rank. This queen was on the 3rd rank before the queen moved to g3. So as you can see, each square has its own unique combination, so we don't get confused which piece is moving to the square. Just notation is very helpful. We have already covered the special symbols for the matter, check, checkmate, and capturing. So let's move on to this question of the server literally crashed. Wait a minute. Okay, so guys, I think the server got reset. So as you can see, you can just ignore that. What if the queen on g7 wants to go to c7 and mate the black king. What will be the notation of this move? Please tell me the answer in the comments down below, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching my video.